What's up, everyone? It's your boy Scott. Welcome to the Scott Report, and today we're here to talk about episode 4 of The Ghost in the Shell. And robots are on the attack. They're going haywire. They're going crazy. They're attacking people. And this, again, I know I kind of beat you guys over the head with this is what happens when technology gets too advanced and goes too far. And it rears its ugly head more than anything in episode 4. However, with this one, the issue is more along the lines of bringing to the forefront not the AI that could be the problem with things once they advance. It's the problem that it always is. It's the root of all evil, which is humanity itself, humanity and greed, because once that starts coming into play, it's a whole new ball game. Because last week we asked the question, can your memories be hacked or stolen? We found out that they can. This week, it's more along the lines of, can humans be duplicated? And they can. I mean, essentially, like with the whole shell program and everything and how that works, it's pretty much what we were doing. We were seeing the evil corporation churn out humans, and the way they were doing it was very dark and very sinister. And Section 9 investigates this string of robots that suddenly start attacking people, and they start to uncover things. And the deeper and deeper they go into the layers of what's going on, the more scary it gets. The Major takes a bit of the backseat this week, and the episode focuses more on Togasa and Bato and their relationship together, which is kind of like going back and forth, typical buddy cop stuff, but it grounds itself to being more of a detective story this week, because like I said at the top of the video, robots are seemingly attacking humans for no reason. And once humanity becomes a product, the real villain becomes humanity in this case. When you start to look at things like, okay, well, instead of us sending these humans to war, let's send these robots to war. That's all fine and dandy. Like, instead of having humans to do our bidding and our shopping and our household chores and all that, let's have robots do it. Again, all fine and dandy. And then once companies start manufacturing those things, what happens when things go haywire? The Puppet Master showed us that humans can be mind controlled, and this time we see what happens when the powers that be decide to make decisions on their own on the fate of humanity. And, just start churning out androids for basic human needs. Sure, they can be used for battle and service, just like we were saying. But also what happens when that goes too far. That's what we got with this episode. Because they were being churned out to, in a way, assist people or be there for like servants, butlers, things, sex robots, things like that, But they also have a programming in them that basically went another way, and there was a programming embedded in them to make them turn at some point. Because this all started off with an old acquaintance, like an old superior or something of, the head guy of Section 9, Aramaki. And he was just chilling at home playing golf, and then he said, "Hey robot, get over here and get this sweat off me." And the robot just went crazy. He went haywire and started attacking him. He was like, "Oh my god, this robot's disgusted by me and it's attacking me." So that's how we got where we got. And overall, like the episode itself, it reminds me of another episode called, another series called Bubblegum Crisis in this sense, because that was kind of the central focus on that as well. They had these set of robots called boomers, and they were used for other human things to kind of substitute and take the load off of humanity. But when they started getting their mind of their own, when the company started using them for more nefarious means and having programming that put them in control, that's when we got into a whole new world of danger. And that's exactly what we've seen in this episode. Because if we want to go even deeper down this rabbit hole, it's basically like robots. If they get to the point where they start expressing feelings and they start having their own will, they're going to act out. And that's what we saw here. Like, these robots were acting out of anger, out of fear, out of being rejected, because a lot of them were older models and they were going to be replaced. And they have the same type of feelings that humans had. Like if you lose your job or you get fired or somebody does you wrong, you're going to be angry. You might lash out even though it might not be the best thing to do. That's essentially what we saw here. So with Section 9 going in, the robots were leaving a message behind that had SOS like in the head on everybody that they were attacking. And we saw like when they got to the police station or where these robots were being held, it was just 100 of them, just like in Pharaoh mode. And they were fed up. They couldn't take it anymore. Nobody could understand why. But they were finding out that out of all the attacks, it was only like 7 or 8 of these robots that had that SOS message. And that got us deeper into what we were looking for. So Bato and Togusa goes to Hakata Instruments, the manufacturers of these robots, to go investigate. And it's here that we find that the manufacturer indeed was intentionally setting these robots to do this after they interrogated somebody who was trying to unalive like one of the workers there, like one of the head shipping managers. Bato was interrogating this guy, and he was like, they're doing terrible things in there. They're trafficking children. They're using people for nefarious means, and I want to stop it. So that's when things got most disturbing, because basically what was happening here was that this corporation, they were working with the Yakuza, and they were trafficking kids, and then they were taking kids in and using them. And we saw that it was actually 2 children who were doing the SOS message and putting it into the robot's head, because they were trying to get someone to figure out what was going on, get the attention and stop this. Because what they were doing is they were trafficking children and using the children's essence or their soul or their consciousness and putting them into robot bodies. That's where the whole Ghost in the Shell thing come from. And once they drained the kids out to the point where they couldn't use them anymore, they left it up to imagination what they were doing to them, but you can kind of imagine what happened here. And then they were selling the children off. They were selling them off to these sleazy business people. They had a certain little client list that Aramaki's friend was on, the Colonel guy. It was just nasty. It's just nasty. And when you're dealing with dystopian futures, when you're dealing with cyberpunk and things like that, they never shy away from showing you these type of things, because hell, we know these type of things are happening in the real world. But you take it on technology side, now you're using people. It was just nasty. It was just left a bad taste, in my mouth. And it's supposed to be unsettling. It's supposed to make you feel like this is disgusting, because it is. And that's where, like a lot of these shows that take place like this, Psychopaths and things like that, cyberpunk, technology and how people will always be greedy and how crime will always exist, how bad people will always exist, and then they will use the technology to further their means. That's always at the forefront, and it's not shying away from this. I mean, for this only to be a 10 episode run, I think all 4 episodes up to date has been really deep and had a lot of, moral questions and things going on. So like, even with the kids, Togusa and Bato were like, you know what, that's wrong, because do you know that you were actually harming people, or even worse out there? And the kids are like, well, look what they're doing to us. You don't think we deserve justice for what they were doing? If you guys wouldn't have found us, we probably could have kept doing it. But at the same time, we put the message out there because we wanted someone to find out about this. And yeah, at the end of the day, it was like, the action was always at the back front, it seems like, with this version of the series. There wasn't that much action. When they do have action, it really does go in. They actually do catch this chief guy, and Aramaki's friend pays for his crimes. But at the same time, it just leaves the dark undertones of what's going on in this world, and it really makes you think, like, if people are willing to go this far, imagine what they can do with even more power. So another fantastic episode of Ghost in the Shell as we approach the halfway point with next week's episode, and I cannot wait for next week. Man, the way that they're tackling themes and things that were going on, and you can kind of put it into a parallel of what's happening now or what could happen in the future, is one of the things that makes it outstanding. Of course, there's other works that handles this type of thing, but I think Ghost in the Shell is doing it really well because it shows the possibilities of what can happen. And when you can do that with a sci-fi novel in this sense and make you think, it really does like make you go like, wow. I mean, as far as like comparing this to Standalone Complex, I think Standalone Complex overall, that might still be the perfect adaptation. I'll have to wait to see when this is over, but I cannot sit here and say that this one isn't good as well. Like, if I would have saw this at first, Standalone Complex would have been a whole different tone for me. And that's just basically what we're experiencing as viewers. We're experiencing coming off the Ghost in the Shell that we know and coming into one that's a little bit more faster paced. It seems every episode is kind of episodic instead of, kind of stringing together. Like, it almost seemed like they even forgot about Puppet Master at this point, but we know he's still out there. But overall, I think just like we did with Standalone Complex, just like we did with the movie, just like you could do with Arise and the other works. These are all separate works, and I think they all bring something to the table. And I'm glad, I've said every week, I'm glad that we're finally getting the real look at Ghost in the Shell and its true nature, or its true adaptation being in front of us, and for the most part, everybody loving it. So guys, let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below, and I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, and I'll see you guys next week. Be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the like if you like what I'm doing around here, hit that bell so you guys can know when I drop my next video, and also be sure to follow me at The Scott Report on Twitch for some gaming goodness. I usually game on the weekends, where we're going to be playing Marvel Tokon once that drops, mostly fighting games, varieties, Marvel Rivals, things like that. And I'll see you guys soon. So as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but shows listen to me. And I really appreciate that. So thanks for stopping by. On that note, it's your boy Scott signing out. See you soon.